A guy asks a girl out, she says no. Not funny? I agree. Especially because, I was that guy. Part 1. So, there was this girl, right? We'll call her Sarah because, well, that's her name. Anyway, Sarah was, and probably still is, hot. Like, stop you in your tracks, make you forget your own name hot. Naturally, I had to shoot my shot. Spoiler alert, I missed. Badly. We're talking airballed it into the stands kind of miss. Public rejection at its finest. I played it cool, of course. Inside, though, my ego was nursing a bruise the size of Texas. But, hey, at least I could add it to my collection of dating horror stories. Every guy has them, right? It's practically a badge of honor. Still stings, though. Part 2. Listen to what happened next. Turns out, not right now actually means never. Who knew? It's one of those things you don't really understand until it happens to you. You think, oh, they're just busy, or maybe later, but later never comes. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you realize that you've been holding on to hope for something that was never going to happen. Here's the thing about rejection. It doesn't just bounce off you. It sticks. It clings to you like a stubborn piece of lint on your favorite black sweater. No matter how much you try to shake it off, it just won't let go. It's there, reminding you of that moment when you weren't good enough, when you were turned away. Like super glue on your fingers kind of sticks. You try to wash it off, scrub it away, but it lingers. It's a constant reminder of your failure, of that moment when you were left standing there, feeling small and insignificant. Every time I saw Sarah after that, it was like reliving that awkward moment in slow motion. The way she looked at me, or rather, the way she didn't look at me, it was like I was invisible, like I didn't matter, and that hurt more than the initial rejection. The worst part? Her friends knew. They were always there, watching, whispering. It was like they were in on some secret that I wasn't privy to. They'd shoot me these knowing glances, like they were sharing a joke at my expense. Trust me, the novelty wears off real quick. You start to question yourself, wonder what you did wrong. Why weren't you good enough? What could you have done differently? It's a vicious cycle, and it's hard to break free from it. I tried to brush it off. Whatever, I thought, plenty of fish in the sea. But it's not that simple. It's not just about finding someone else. It's about dealing with the rejection, the hurt, the feeling of not being good enough. Plenty of fish in the sea. But the ocean seemed to be experiencing a shortage of desirable fish. Every time I tried to move on, it felt like I was just settling. And that wasn't fair to me or to the other person. But the ocean seemed to be experiencing a shortage of desirable fish. It was like I was fishing in a pond that had been overfished. There were plenty of fish, sure, but none of them were what I was looking for. And Sarah? Well, she just kept swimming around, looking effortlessly unattainable. She was like a rare, exotic fish that everyone wanted but no one could catch. And the more unattainable she seemed, the more I wanted her. It's amazing how much someone's indifference can mess with your head. It's like the less they care, the more you care. It's a twisted, masochistic game that your mind plays on you. It's like suddenly you want them even more. Their indifference becomes a challenge, something to overcome. And you find yourself doing things you wouldn't normally do, just to get their attention. The human ego is a twisted, masochistic thing. It craves validation, approval, and when it doesn't get it, it goes into overdrive, trying to prove itself. It's a never-ending cycle of wanting what you can't have, and it's exhausting. Part 3, Operation Upgrade, introducing the new me. After wallowing in self-pity for an appropriate amount of time, read too long, I decided to take action. Two could play this game. I was going to make Sarah regret her decision. Call it petty, call it immature, call it what you want. I call it Operation Make Sarah Drool. Step 1, hit the gym, hard. Time to transform this dad bod into something worthy of a double take. Step 2, level up the wardrobe. Goodbye band tees and cargo shorts. Hello, fitted shirts and designer jeans. Step 3, embrace the art of not giving a damn. Confidence, my friends, is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Fake it till you make it, right? Part 4, the tables have flipped. Suddenly I'm drowning in attention. It's almost annoying, almost. Something funny happens when you start putting yourself first. People notice, women especially. Suddenly, I was the one fielding compliments and phone numbers. My Instagram DMs were blowing up. It was flattering, sure, but also a little overwhelming. I was used to blending into the background. Now, I was the one people were staring at. Life comes at you fast, I guess. The best part? Sarah noticed too. I caught her looking at me a few times. That look of indifference replaced with something else. Something that looked a lot like ... interest question mark. The irony wasn't lost on me. Part 5. Thirst Trap Queen. She's liking, commenting, and sliding into my DMs with the fury of 1,000 suns. Remember those Instagram DMs I mentioned? Yeah, about those. Let's just say Sarah became a regular contributor. Every thirst trap selfie I posted, liked. Every witty comment I made, replied to. Every story I shared, viewed within nanoseconds. It was like she'd suddenly developed an allergy to not interacting with my every online move. I'm talking heart emojis, fire emojis, the whole emoji buffet. Don't get me wrong, a part of me was eating it up. Revenge is a dish best served digitally, right? But it was also getting a little ridiculous. Part 6, playing it cool. Time to deploy the strategic scene function. Now I'm not a monster. I didn't leave her hanging completely, but I also wasn't about to roll out the red carpet. This wasn't some grand romantic gesture on her part. This was pure, unadulterated I want what I can't have syndrome. So I played it cool, responded to her messages sporadically, kept my answers short and sweet. And of course, I utilized the ever so satisfying scene function. Nothing says I'm not that interested like letting someone know you've read their message but can't be bothered to reply. It's a delicate dance, this whole playing hard to get thing. But hey, two can play at that game. Part 7. The accidental date. How was I supposed to know bumping into her was planned? One Saturday night I was out with the guys, celebrating my newfound singledom, and let's be honest, my killer biceps. We hit up our usual spot, the one with the cheap drinks and even cheaper pickup lines. As I'm regaling my friends with a particularly embarrassing dating story, hey, I've got a lot of material, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Guess who? Yep, Sarah. She's all dolled up, looking like she walked straight out of a magazine. "Oh my god, hey!" she exclaims, a little too enthusiastically. "Fancy seeing you here?" Now I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but even I could tell this was no chance encounter. But hey, two could play at that game too. I decided to act surprised. Part 8. Doubts and dilemmas. Am I enjoying this? We ended up talking for hours that night. Okay, maybe talking isn't the right word. More like, she talked, and I sat there basking in the glow of her newfound attention. It was bizarrely satisfying. She was hanging on to my every word, laughing at my jokes, even the ones that weren't funny, and subtly, okay, not so subtly, trying to touch my arm. "So," she says, leaning in close, "are you seeing anyone?" I take a sip of my beer, savoring the moment. "Why, you interested?" I ask, raising an eyebrow. Here's the messed up part. A part of me, a tiny, vindictive part, was enjoying this, seeing her squirm, knowing I had the upper hand. Part 9. The chase is on. The closer I get, the further she runs. Interesting. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of mixed signals and near misses. Sarah would blow up my phone one day, then disappear for days on end. She'd suggest hanging out, then cancel at the last minute. It was like she was playing some elaborate game, and I was the unwitting participant. And here's the kicker. The more elusive she became, the more intrigued I was. It's like that saying, we want what we can't have. The thrill of the chase, the anticipation, the uncertainty, it was intoxicating. And, if I'm being honest, a little addictive. Part 10. The power of no. Maybe I like her even more now that I can't have her. Here's the thing about rejection though. Sometimes it makes you want something even more. It's like this weird reverse psychology trick. When Sarah wasn't interested, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Now, well, the tables had turned. She was the one chasing after me. And the more she chased, the less interested I became. It made no sense. It was illogical. And yet, here we were. Maybe it was the thrill of the game. Maybe it was the satisfaction of knowing I had the upper hand. Or maybe, just maybe, I liked the idea of her more than I actually liked her. Part 11. The future is female and complicated. Is it messed up if I never let this go further? Asking for a friend. So where do we go from here? Honestly, I have no idea. Part of me wants to see where this goes. There's definitely unfinished business between us. But another part of me, the part that remembers the sting of that initial rejection, isn't so sure. Do I really want to open that door again? Risk getting hurt or worse, hurting her? Maybe some things are better left unsaid, or in this case, unresolved. Then again, maybe that's just the fear of commitment talking. One thing's for sure, this whole situation is one giant, messy contradiction. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's just cool knowing that I have a choice and I'm in full control. Let me know, guys, has this ever happened to you? What did you do? Leave it in the comments.